well, welcome to tonight's show. I'm sorry that I wasn't on Tuesday night. I know you're all just all verklempt over that. But tonight I have a very special guest all the way from Connecticut. Took a long drive out, and boy, her arm's tired. But here we go. This is Michelle Koe Page, and she has a great website, unbreakablemoms.net. And that says it all. Just the title itself says it all. So let me bring you up here. Welcome, Michelle, to tonight's show.
Hello, Dave. Hello, Facebook world.
Hi there. And this is a great experience. You can walk me through this. You're a veteran of these Be Live things.
I wouldn't call them veteran of the Be Live platform, but I'm used to doing live presentations. So
so you'll hold my hand along the way. There you go.
I'll do the best I can.
There you go. Well, for the people, my audience, and for the people out there, Michelle, who the heck are you? Tell us about yourself.
How much time do you have?
Oh, I could be here for hours. So go ahead. Tell my audience all about yourself.
Well, it's a very diverse background. I'll preface it by that, and I will give you the very, very edited version, the bullet point version, to get to where I am today. So I am actually a registered pharmacist. So that is my professional training. I've spent, I don't know how many years getting trained and how many years I've been in the field already, but it's been many decades. So that's my official formal, I guess, title. I've moved more into the integrative world, getting very familiar with alternative healing methods and preventative medicine. And I kind of took a little sidebar journey and went into fitness and became a personal trainer. So I brought that into my wellness practice of being a pharmacist. And I've kind of been on this other entrepreneurial journey of providing coaching services for women in different areas, first begin in health, then in fitness, then the two together. And actually now I've actually moved into an area of coaching moms with my business partner with Unbreakable Moms. And we're specifically working with moms with adolescent girls, or actually any adult female with adolescent girls in their life. So it just, we say moms, but it includes grandmothers. It includes aunts. It includes, nieces, or even just if you're a family friend, if your neighbor has an adolescent girl in there. What we do, you may see things and hear things that you may need help with and skills with. And so that's what we do. We provide support and coaching for moms of adolescent girls. Just because I don't know if you know about adolescent teens and girls in particular, but hormones are almost the easy part. So there's a whole world. And if any of your viewers here have any teen girls, you know what that world is about. It's teen drama galore. You think, the soap operas that you watch on TV are intriguing. No, real life is just like, how is this going to end? Plot twist.
Yeah. I grew up with 4 older sisters.
Oh, there you go.
I was the youngest. I was the only boy. And my adolescence alone was bad enough, but compounding that with 4 older sisters, it was quite the family dynamic in that. How did you get interested into this? What was your path that brought you to that?
Well, it was actually a conversation that I was having with my business partner. She's also a mom, has a daughter the same age as mine. And we were just talking about some of the problems and obstacles and challenges that we were having with teens. And we were just kind of just talking philosophically about girls these days and why kids are so much harder. And we suddenly came to the aha moment that, you know what, these girls don't need counseling. They need coaching. Their moms need the coaching, because the girls, when you're a teen, you know everything. You can't tell them anything whatsoever. But the moms, they need the coaching. They need the support so that they can learn the skills themselves, keep themselves centered and grounded and able to think clearly, and then also pass them on to their daughters. So that's really how it all started, is just this random conversation that we had, just kind of talking very philosophically, and said, you know what? she and I are both trained and certified through Jack Canfield. So we're very familiar with his success principles and his methodology. And we said, you know what? This is a perfect opportunity and area where we can teach people what they need to just survive life. Life in general, doesn't matter what you are, but in particular moms with adolescent girls, these teenage daughters. I know for myself, it's shifted everything.
So your program itself is based upon leading them.
Yes.
So not waiting till there's a problem.
Right.
But just leading and saying preemptively, here, let's start the conversation. Let's get the communication flowing. Let's, all of that aspect. Am I reading that correctly?
That's ideal. But usually until you're in the middle of it and you're almost in crisis mode, you need both. It's hard to get people preemptively unless they happen to find out about us. They happen to get our ebook and read about it and just are, oh my gosh, I need to make sure I'm prepared for all of this. But most of the time it's moms that are starting to experience it. Actually, my business partner and I did a presentation today, and we were talking about just the issue of self-esteem and cutting amongst young girls and how they were using that to relieve their anxiety and their overwhelm and their stress. Cutting is not healthy. There are certainly more effective ways to relieve stress and overwhelm. And as a mom, how do you deal with that? You immediately think mental health, but we're not counselors. We're not mental health specialists, but we can provide coping skills for you, mom, and to then use with your daughters and teach your daughters. So that's kind of in a nutshell.
And for the viewers up there, I put the link for that free book up there. I know it doesn't really show that, but that's the link for the free book. So the free ebook. And how detailed does that get for the free ebook?
The content of the book itself?
Yeah.
There's some stories that are shared in there from moms with teenage daughters. So they're all true stories. So if you think that you're alone and you're going through your own ordeal with your own child, you'll know that you're not alone, because what you're experiencing, it's a taboo subject that people don't talk about in the open. So the book lets you know that you're not alone. The book lets you know, the different things that you need to consider and how you need to approach things very differently than how they grew up, how I grew up. I certainly didn't grow up with any kind of computers and social media and all that stuff. So this is a brand new world for most moms of teenage daughters these days. We have no reference manual. As bad as, I think about my worst times as a child, growing up as a teen, and now I can't even imagine what it's like to go through that same ordeal these days with it plastered all over social media within seconds.
Right. And everything that they have access to.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I'm blown away by that. It's like there's worlds out there I have no clue about. And that's just amazing. And but they've grown up with that. I'm 53, so like the internet was new, it was in the I don't want to say midlife, but it came into being later in years. So you have to go through, your thinking patterns are different where they're growing up with it. So it's just so fast and easy to get to any of those things.
Right. I mean, like when we grew up, if we had a bad day, if we were teased, if we were kind of like the kid that was picked on in school, as soon as we got home, we were safe. Now, when you come home, you're not safe. It's still out there. It's still coming at you on that phone, on that social media. And people you don't even know anonymously are judging you and making, comments about you. And it's as a teen, it's really, really difficult. And unless parents are really tuned into what's going on, you don't realize what's going on behind closed doors in that teen's, in their daughter's head, in their mind, and how that makes them feel in that comparison, why they aren't good enough, or they see their best friend who ditched them to go to another friend's party. Right. And they're having fun without you. It's such a different world, and moms are not equipped yet to handle it.
And it's becoming, sorry to say, it's becoming acceptable all the way from the upper crust of, I'm trying to be nice about this, all the way from the president down, I'll just throw it out there, all the way from the president down. I mean, you're getting tweets, you're getting things of that sort, you're getting social media. So it's like common practice, and just like, drinking water nowadays. It's so disheartening on one level. And I can't believe, I mean, I know as myself growing up, it's like you just had to deal with when you were at school, if you got bullied or something of that sort, or intimidated by someone and that. But now, like you said, you're going home and the conversation continues, and it's worse because they don't have to face you. Yes. You have these bullies and that are hiding behind a screen. They feel safe in their little room, and they're tapping away on the keyboard, and trying to intimidate people and taking pictures and that. And even now with the way cell phones, every adolescent has a cell phone, right?
Absolutely.
And as parents, it's put out there so that they could contact you. You feel more safe because they have a way to communicate with you. And that is just another tool, because there's pictures, there's cameras, there's things that other people can use to then change or, enhance or different ways to try to intimidate other people. Right. And so you set forth and do you want to, who is your partner in this?
It's Lisa Coots Schoolies.
Okay.
Yeah. So we work together.
And it's great that the two of you have put your heads together to make this come to fruition faster.
Yeah, and we're actually very different personalities, so we complement each other very, very well. So it's a really nice partnership and relationship that she and I have. Yeah.
No, I think that's great. So what else, what other points do you hit upon? So this is more for the mothers on how to deal with adolescence, and it's mostly with women, young women.
Yep.
Can you tell I grew up with 4 older sisters? Trust me, the toilet seat is always down. I'll just say that right out there.
It was ingrained in you, right?
It didn't take long. You either did that or you got a swirly, and that was it. So yeah, so you definitely did that.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing with, working with the moms, the biggest thing, as I mentioned before, is that it's a taboo subject. The cutting, like I mentioned before, it's prevalent. We've heard of kids as young as 10 cutting. And how do they find out about it? Social media. It's being suggested on social media. My business partner, Lisa, was sharing with me that her daughter showed her Instagram feeds of girls almost as a badge of honor, showing their cutting scars. I mean, and as a mom, do you know that? Would you know that? And then if you did know that, what would you do about it? That guilt, and how do you talk to? You think that you're the only one, your daughter's the only one going through these significant issues, where there's depression, anxiety, and, the cutting, but maybe even the eating disorders or whatever else.
Or you're in denial and you're saying, not my daughter.
Right. And
they're hiding it. The sleeves are down, they're hiding. They know how to do that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So, as moms, there's so much shame that, I hear so often. It's like, I wish I could go back and do X, Y, Z, or what did I do wrong? Maybe I should have done this instead of that. So all of that guilt plays through, and it's the biggest piece that most moms have the hardest time getting over. And we really work hard on helping her process that guilty feeling and let her recognize that she doesn't need to feel guilty. It's really, she can choose to feel guilty if she wants to. And we work with her to really take responsibility. What is her role and her responsibility in dealing with all of this and in dealing with her daughter? She feels it's all her responsibility, and it is, but how she feels about that responsibility is also up to her and her decision.
Yeah.
So we help her work all through that and processing that and realizing that really, the bottom line is that she is doing the best she can. And she did the best she could 5 years ago, 10 years ago, knowing what she knew at that time. If she knew that her daughter was going to have all of these issues 10 years down the road, of course she would have made different decisions. But there's no way to know that. And
Right.
that's the easiest way to release that guilt, and that we really work with the moms. But it's a skill. So like any skill, takes practice. So I always tell people, it's like playing the piano. You got to practice it over and over and over again. You can't just take one lesson and expect to play, some concerto.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that needs to be practiced, and you need to be very aware of practicing this skill, because that guilt, it's so cemented in us. It just pops up when we least expect it. And then just teaching and training the moms to recognize that thought and that sinking feeling, even physiologically, where in their body they're feeling it, is a good way for them to just clue in. Because we all know what that feels like. We've just never paid attention to it and realized that's the feeling I get when I feel guilty. It's in the pit of my stomach, and I suddenly feel someone's punched me. Or maybe it manifests differently for somebody else. Maybe it's like you got smacked on the side of the head, and it's like, oh, my head, a terrible headache. So everybody's a little bit different where they feel it physiologically, but you know what it is. It's just a matter of you naming it.
Right.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true. So do you have a Facebook group? Or where can people find you?
Yep. We've got actually a Facebook page, which is a public page. Anybody can kind of see. Right now, we're actually in the middle of doing a 10-day live series. So if you want to jump on there, you can see the ones. I think today was day 5. So we've done 5 days of videos already. Today, our topic, the live stream, we titled it was a bloody mess, literally. And the topic was about cutting. Yesterday, we talked about social media, and I talked about how my daughter was in jail and things like that. So they can find us on our business Facebook page, where we're running all of this right now. We also have a private community, much like you have right here with this group. It's called Unbreakable Moms Community. You can actually find it on our business page. You can find a link over to our group. It's a private group, just like this one. So, it's private. The public outside world can't see what's being said in the group. They can see who's in the group, but they can't see what's being posted and said. So it allows for a little bit more comfort and disclosure of moms. Like I said, it's a taboo topic, but when you know that everybody else in this group has the exact same issues, some of them probably even worse, as bad as you think yours is, it's probably not as bad as somebody else's. So there's a lot of comfort in knowing. And actually today I had posted something, and another mom said, "Thank you. Now I know I'm not alone." So, really that's all that many moms really need, is just to know that they're not alone, and there's a place that they can admit that this is going on. Because you don't just go up to your best friend or your neighbor and just start talking about, your daughter's latest, escapades, and how she came home stumbling drunk because, X, Y, Z. You don't really just share that liberally with people.
Yeah, no. And to get that feedback that's the inspiration right there, isn't it? Just for
Absolutely.
what you do, for what you do. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. So it's so they have to go through the door.
They have to request to join.
Yeah,
Yes.
they have to request to join. And that, is there like a questionnaire or anything, or?
There's no questionnaire.
But you just have to approve them. Yeah. So you'll double check. So you keep all the riffraff out.
Yeah. That's the intent.
Yeah.
That's the intent.
So in your group, is there rules with the group then? It's like, it's got to be positive, anything negative, you're booted, things like that.
We want it to be a community. So we haven't really created any rules. We want really now to create that community where people just feel safe to just kind of see what we're talking about. To maybe, we have a lot of lurkers right now in the group, to be quite honest.
There always are.
They are, but especially with this kind of subject, even though they're in this group, and even though they know that everybody else in the group has the same issues, it's still scary to say, "I agree," or "That happened to me." So we try to elicit, some engagement with people, but it's a growing group. So we haven't instilled a lot of rules yet. We're just trying to get people engaged. There haven't been any rule
breakers yet, right?
Correct. That's the bottom line.
That's the really cool thing about, you don't have to make rules until somebody plows through the stop sign or something of that sort. Yeah. Well, that's great. And so you have the website that they can go to, unbreakablemoms.net.
Yes.
Make sure that's .net.
Thank you.
Get you to the right place. Yeah. unbreakablemoms.net. And I'll after this is rebroadcast or whatever, I'll put those in the comments below too. I've been flashing them up on the screen. I know you don't see that, but I've been flashing them up on the screen as you've been going through. So what else is on the horizon? Do you have some groups? Do you have some classes, some courses coming up?
Yeah, actually, we have a crash course for moms coming up, actually starting next Tuesday, December 5th. It's a 4-day crash course. We're not calling it a mini course because it is basically a binge of content.
Wow.
It's 4 days in a row for about 20 to 30 minutes, and we give you probably more information than you can absorb in that short amount of time, with skills of coping skills for yourself, for you to better understand why you react this a certain way and maybe why your daughter is reacting a certain way and how you can help her. So the topics that we're going to be covering are things like the different layers of emotion. We're definitely talking about that guilt, some of the shame and the resentment, talking about the responsibility aspects. So it's chock full with information that you can actually finish after we go through the course and start implementing immediately. Lisa and I are both very results driven, and we want everybody to have an aha moment while we're talking to them, and then something that they can then immediately turn around after we turn off the video and go do it. So we want to make sure that is in place. So it's a 4-day course. It's really affordable. We want to make sure that the people that needed it got it. It's $47, and it'll be recorded. So even if you can't make the time of the live presentation, you will have the material to review again and again if you need it, or also just at a later time and day that's more convenient for you.
So is that so they can go to the unbreakablemoms.net?
Yes.
And they can find that under, I'm sure there's a heading for courses or something.
Actually, the heading is called For Moms.
For Moms.
Yes. And the name of the program is called Connected to the Heart, where HEART is actually an acronym for Helping Empower Amazing Resilient Teens.
Wow. Who came up with that one?
That would be my business partner, Lisa. Yeah. She's the creative one.
She's the thinker.
I'm the statistics and data person.
Yeah. Oh, okay. There you go. Wow, that's pretty darn cool.
Yeah, and then we've got a couple of coaching, private coaching sessions also available too. If people are interested, they can just contact us. Our email address is right on our website as well. Okay. So if they're interested in learning more about that, we can.
So for the coaching, do you have a calendar, or do they just contact you directly and then
they just contact us directly?
Coordinate a time. Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's the best way anyway. Go right to the source instead of the calendars. I got a calendar, but it's like you go on the calendar and then I come back and I go, oh no, I have to interview Michelle at that time. I can't do that. So now I got to contact them. And
it's a very, because of the topics matter, we were very high touch. We like to be very personable, involved, and open and transparent. So to have just kind of like fill out this form, go schedule a time, to us, it just feels a little impersonal.
Yeah. One of the Danielle, she's actually my cousin, fabulous Danielle, and she was putting up there during. I gotta get better at this Be Live thing, but she put up there so true while you were talking before, and so that just reinforces I mean, it is with adolescence. I mean, we all know how we were when we were kids. Mm-hmm. When you went through that adolescent phase, when you were young, you just absorbed everything you could. Then you get in that adolescent phase and mom and dad aren't going to be, you're fighting against them, you're wanting to be independent. And then so the secrets start. Mm-hmm. And if they go down that path, are you thinking in the future that as a preemptive thing that or maybe you do that now, you invite people in before their kids are adolescents?
Oh, absolutely. We already invite people in. Actually, a lot of times we talk about people, who have found us and, they have, a 2-year-old or a 6-year-old, but yet they want to kind of get a clue. I actually talked to a mom recently who read our ebook, which is called Girls Under Fire, Becoming an Unbreakable Mom. And she said, I don't have girls, but I am floored at what goes on with the girls, my that are the same age as my sons. She had no idea because, she has a son, but obviously this goes on. Her son knows about it. She asked him questions. She's like, oh yeah, that's been going on for years. Girls have been, sending nude selfies of themselves and, via Snapchat. So they disappear in, a few seconds.
But they don't.
And again,
it's out there.
Moms don't know that this is going on, and the kids know. The kids know, and the parents and the moms don't know. So that's why preemptively, absolutely. And the sooner you know that this is out there and it's starting younger and younger and younger, and it's the other peers and their other teens on social media that are, suggesting these things to them.
That is something. I feel for you. I would just sit there floored by all the stories. I can't even fathom it in this day and age.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So
it's heavy stuff, but.
Well, yeah, but there's a place to go and share and once you go, it's like any group or tribe of people that have that common ground together. Mm-hmm. It's like once they start sharing, it's like, oh, I don't feel so bad. I don't feel so guilty anymore because you have a child like this. And, the discussions start that way. Mm-hmm. And you just feel a little bit, it doesn't take it away, but you have it maybe get a different perspective of things that they tried. And, and every person's different. Every adolescent's going to be different. Every child's going to be different, Mm-hmm. But it's just, I'm just floored. I think it's such a great thing that you do.
Thank you. It's a personal mission for both of us. So we are very excited. And, the people that we've been interacting with and a lot of the private messages that we get are just, we know that there are people out there that are seeking what we are offering and how we're helping people. And we're trying to reach as many people as we can who need the help.
Right. Well, that's great. And you do it all via the internet.
Yep. Absolutely.
So
technology can be good.
Yeah. Hopefully we get to the point where that's all it is. No one's stealing identities and doing all this stuff. So people can just contact you. The groups are going to be all interactive that way. Mm-hmm. Do you use like Zoom or something? What technology do you use for that?
Yep. We use, depending on what program we're specifically talking about, but Zoom, yes, definitely. Sometimes it's a closed private Facebook group, so that's even more secretive than a regular closed group like it's just you will have right here. So that's by invitation only. You can't even request to join. You have to be invited.
Okay.
Because you can't find those groups.
Yeah.
So it depends on which particular program you're talking about. But primarily,
so they sign up. They're going to sign up. They're going to pay for it ahead of time. They're going to do all that,
Absolutely.
And then you're going to send them a link, and then that's how it all starts that way.
Yeah.
Danielle put in there. Unbelievable, working hard to keep my 7-year-old from doing some of the things my 24-year-old did. Preemptive.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I had a grandmother read our ebook, and she was saying, the first time she read it through, she said like, oh, it's a good book. The second time through, she said she wished that she knew a lot of these things, that she could have tried them with her daughter when she was 16, and her daughter's now 42. She said that she read it the third time, and she found herself talking to her 16-year-old self. So it's like all of those different levels. It's a short ebook. It's very quick read, but you can see after you read it, all the different levels and all the different ways it'll hit you.
But powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of effort to put all these things together, do a website, but it's worth it. Just helping the people is worth it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And it truly, it comes from the heart. It really does. It's a true personal mission for Lisa and I to share our experiences, our knowledge, and ourselves with the other moms out there. So that's what it's all about for us.
So any parting words of wisdom?
Parting words of wisdom, you're not alone. Any moms and dads that are watching, whatever you're going through, you're not alone. If you're not experiencing yet, not saying it will happen, but it could, at least have your radar up, because if you don't know, you don't know. So just keep your eyes open, learn as much as you can, and not saying that that's going to happen with your child, but you don't want to be caught off guard, because it's not a good place to be.
Right. Can't say it any better than that. Can't say it any better than that. Well, thank you for coming on.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it. And, all of your audience members here, your group members, I'm part of the group there. So if you have other comments and questions, continue posting them in the feed
Sure.
here, and I'll go back in and respond as best I can. And of course,
they
feel
can
free.
click through and message you.
I was just going to say that. Yep,
Oh.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Never interrupt, right? I try not to, but we all want to say so much, right? Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on. I so appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much for having me here. I really enjoyed it.
You're welcome. And for everybody out there, thanks for coming along the journey with us, and we'll see you next week. If you like this video, like my Facebook page or subscribe to my YouTube channel, or find everything at davestelma.com.